Okay, what I'd like to talk about right now is just doing a Mayhem 4 True Takedown run with Amara. This is a Phaserker Amara, and I'm going to try to walk you through being able to do this on your own, because what it really depends upon is your skill tree as a basis, and then the gear that you're going to be running with, and some techniques and stuff to use in order to clear it with relative ease. So let's start with the skill tree here. Now I do run a Phaserker Com. You can see it here with plus 28% weapon damage, plus 35% assault rifle damage, and plus 35% shotgun damage. I'm not using a shotgun right now, but I will mostly use the Clairvoyance assault rifle, which you can get fairly easily in the new DLC 2 in Curse Haven. You have to kill that one Critchy character, but that drops with pretty consistent on a pretty consistent basis, so it shouldn't be too hard to get one that's going to be pretty good. Now this one is a dueling Clairvoyance Masher, so it does have the Masher and times 4, but if we compare that to another one, which is this one here, you can see you get it with a higher fire rate and a larger magazine size without the Masher at the end there. So either one is going to be pretty good. Now both of these do have consecutive hits, so that's what you want to look for, but even if you get it with like 125% towards badass and named enemies like that, that'll work, or 50% ASE with whatever elemental damage. Those are what you're going to be looking for as for this particular build of Amara. So that's going to be our main weapon of choice here. Our secondary weapon is going to be the Defrauding Hyperfocus. In this one again I have a consecutive hits one, but anyone with a decent ASE will do well for you here. Now you do want the corrosive version, so a defrauding one is one you're going to want to look for. And if you're having an issue getting this one, I would definitely try to do the Slaughter Shaft, because I've seen it drop there with pretty reliable rates as far as dropping the hyperfocus. Now you could get one with cryo or fire, or any elemental will really work, but we're looking more towards the corrosive version because we're going to be using that on Wotan, the Valkyries, and all the mechanical robots in this takedown. In addition to that, I have the Marathon Old God shield. Now as far as shields go, this one, for shields you want to get something with an ASE with elemental damage. Doesn't really matter what the damage is, could be cryo, corrosive, incendiary, whatever. In this case it's cryo, so that is important for this particular build. I have run the True Takedown with a one-shotter shield, so what's most important here for your shields and your grenade mods is going to be the action skill and bonuses, and we're looking at the 50% bonus of whatever element with weapons for 10 seconds. That's what we're really looking for, because we want to be able to stack those. And with stacking, we're also looking at getting the ASE on our grenade mods as well. So this one is the one I'm going to be using throughout this one, and it's ASE with radiation for 10 seconds. But again, you could use one like incendiary. Corrosive would be also preferable, especially during the takedown, but it really doesn't matter, because what happens is that all of these ASEs will stack after your action skill has been triggered and ended. Now, speaking of your action skill, before we get into anything else, I do utilize a lot of fake grasping, which I'll demonstrate right now. It's just all you do is you're right there, and what happens is it resets after a second, but that gives you your action skill and bonuses. So you don't have to grasp an enemy in order to trigger it. You could just grasp the air, and it's a much quicker trigger. That also allows you to stack your I'll show you. It allows you to stack your rush stacks, and that does come in handy, especially if you're for mob killing and stuff like that. So that's something that I like to do while I'm just traveling from one empty section to another, is just to keep those stacks as close to 99 as possible. So 99 is the highest they'll get, and you can see at the bottom underneath the level bar there, it says 90, and they do decay relatively quickly, so I just like to keep them up as much as possible. It helps with, like I said, with mobbing and getting rid of huge groups of people all at once. So that's what we're looking for as far as our gear goes. I do have the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, and this is easily obtained. As far as your buffs, it doesn't really matter what you have, but we're just looking for this artifact in order to help with this build. Now I do use this one once in a while too if I'm trying to do some speed runs, because the slight speed bonus it gives you makes that quicker, but just to make it easier on you, this is the artifact we're going to be looking for. Now, I do have pretty high Guardian rank, but in all honesty, anything above 150 will get you all the perks you need. What we're really looking for is Hollow Point here. I also take advantage of Armageddon if I'm going down and fight for your life. Shield Reboot is a good one to have. I mean, they're all good to have, so if you can max all these out, do that. And try to get as much in your percentages over here as possible too. These do help, but it's not essential to have them all maxed out. But we're looking for skills like Hollow Point, even Too Angry to Die. That's the one that does your fight for your life. And you know, Armageddon is pretty cool. And this one I really don't have a use for it at this point, but it's still fun to have on there. But now let's get into our skill tree. So this is the most important part of your build. It's going to be your skill tree. If we're starting with Mystical Assault, I put 1 in Do Harm and 1 in Violent Tapestry. This helps increase your rush stacks, but you don't need to be maxed out into it to get the max effectiveness of these two, of Do Harm and Violent Tapestry. So just 1 in each one will do perfectly fine. But in order to progress down into the tree, we're going to max out Fast Hands, because we do want reload and weapon swap speed to be as fast as possible. Transcend is another one that we want to have. Helps with accuracy and critical hit damage, and those are going to be important for us. Restless is another important one, because what we want to do is have the cooldown of our action skill to be as low as possible. Now I do only have 4 out of 5 in here because I use 1 point and I throw that down in Awakening to help with the rush stack effectiveness, and I found that that works better for this build and my playstyle overall. I put 2 in Alacrity just to help with reload speed, and that's pretty much all you need there. Ascendant, I mean, we want those additional increased effects in all of those, even though we're only using a couple of them. But most importantly, Soul Sap, Lifesteal. That's this one here, so that helps out with that, keeping you alive. From Rest, obviously this is a good one to have because we want to increase our fire rate and charge time. Laid Bear is a really important one. So this one we want to have maxed out. Always any increase in damage is something that we want to have maxed out. And then again, another increase in damage right here. There is a short cooldown for this one, but or not cooldown, but duration, but it does help. Remnant is actually a really effective one to have. You only need 1 point in there, but I find those little orbs shoot around and help clean up any stragglers or when you're mob killing. It's pretty effective. And then of course, like I said before, I use Awakening in order to increase the effectiveness of the rush stacks. And then Avatar, because we're looking at maxing out our rush stacks, and getting this capstone will help do that. Let's go here to Brawl. The only one in Brawl I'm concerned about is Personal Space. This one is just filled in by the class mod I have, but Personal Space is a good one to have. I don't have this one maxed out because I find that 2 out of 3 is effective enough, especially for my playstyle. I'm not always up in your face, but even if I am, Amara is more than powerful enough to take advantage of 2 instead of 3. So I save one of those points and put it into here, or wherever, you know. Anima, I try to stay away from as much as possible. There are 3 points in here added from my class mod. I just haven't found a class mod to that matches the buffs mine has, that doesn't have any points put into Anima, but it's unavoidable at this point, so those points are added from my comm. The reason why I don't want this is because any elemental area damage, like from a barrel, or if you shoot something and then you explode it and there's an elemental there, if you run into that or get hit by the elements, it'll automatically put you into a fight for your life, and it's not fun. So when you are running around, make sure you're avoiding barrels and things like that. That would cause you to go in a fight for your life. I have 1 into Steady Hands, just because I needed it to get down into the skill tree. I put 4 here into Infusion, because I feel I don't need all of them, and I do want a little bit of increased weapon handling and accuracy. So I take 1 point out of here, put it in there, and it seems to work really well. Tempest to max out, because you do want that increased elemental damage and shock damage. And then I have 4 out of 5 into Wildfire. I mean, it does help, and especially in mobbing situations. You know, again, anything that increases gun damage is always going to be a positive. So we want to put 1 point in Dread. Indiscriminate is another important one, very important, so we want to max that one out. We want that the maximum chance of our bullets ricocheting. Increased magazine size is very good, especially with what I run as far as Jacob's weapons, so they tend to have lower magazine sizes anyway. And that one point I took from, where was it? Here, personal space, and I put it into Catharsis. And I think that helps, especially in mobbing situations, and works really well with Hollow Point. And then I'm going to max out sustainment because we want lifesteal, keep our health up at all times. This one point in Conflux was added by the class mod. And then we are going to put another point, or the last point that we do have, into Forceful Expression. Again, like I said, any addition to damage is going to be key to this build, so bonus elemental damage based on our action skill element is something that we're going to want. So now we have 2 capstones filled, and your base is going to be set. Now I do use, this is a Ties That Bind build, so this is the one that we want, and you'll see once I get into the playthrough here how effective it is in mob killing. And I also, well, this one I use the fire for the soul fire. You can use shock or soul or fire, it doesn't really matter. But I also do soul sap just to keep me alive. And that's going to be very important when we're doing a True Takedown run here. And just so you can see, we are in Mayhem 4. Enemies gain 40% weapon damage, 16% movement speed, fire rate, and reload speed, so that's going to really help us here. This one I'm not concerned about. But anyway, we're going to get into some gameplay, and then I'll be talking some points as I'm going through. And we'll go from there. So what I'm doing here is just switching to the fire version of the hyperfocus that I have, just to help with the ratchet section. Make sure my ammo is full, enable True Takedown mode, and then we're going to get into it right here. Normally I don't bother with the ratchet section. I just go through, kill the 3 Maliwan guys up on their posts, open the door and go in. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to clear this area first. What I like to do is use the fake grasp to hit the stacks as much as possible, and then when I do grasp on enemies, you can see that the ricocheting and the ties that bind, all that ties in together really well. So we're just looking to clear all the ratch from this section. It just helps with not getting killed or put in fight for your life, and when you're trying to kill those 3 guys, especially if you're not if you don't have a lot of practice on them Modern 1 takedowns. And that's the other thing too, if you find that it's too difficult at first, you can always practice on areas like the Anvil with this build, or Athena's. That's a good area to play. Any of the proving grounds, because they are shorter and not as difficult, but what it'll allow you to do is to practice the fake grasping and also the phase grasping, and getting all those skills put together. Now right there I switch back to the corrosive, and I'm going to take down those overseers, or death spears, whatever they're called. And here, what I found out is that you don't need to kill all 3 of those Maliwan guys on the top in order to get the gate to open, because you'll see once I clear all the enemies out front here, it'll open as well. So I guess that's the key. Either you kill those 3 to open it, avoid all the ratch and the death spheres, or you kill all the enemies, and then it should open as well. You see those orbs chasing around. I love those things, so that's why I like having that in my build as well. I'm gonna switch to the AR here just to, because it is a really powerful weapon and it just cleans things up nice and easy. My sniping skills are off right now. You do go down and fight for your life once in a while, but don't let that scare you, because you'll get out of it. Now we're entering into this area after that's all cleaned up, and we just want to go through here and move slowly up, killing all these enemies down here. That way, the deeper you get into, the less you have to deal with when the Kraken appears. We're doing all this just to help you, especially if you've never done this before. You can practice more on normal takedown as well, so it doesn't have to be Mayhem 4 or anything like that, or True Takedown, but practice does make perfect, so if you can't do this as of yet, scale the difficulty down, do run-throughs that way so you can get a feel for it more, and then you'll be able to handle this without any issues. I've got almost all the enemies cleared out here. I'm waiting for the Kraken to come out.
So much power.
I switched over to the hyper focus. It's really easy work of the Kraken. Just like ridiculous how easy it is. Now I'm just cleaning up the rest of the enemies in case they drop some good loot, and just for the purposes of the video.
Stop struggling. Got one ready for ya.
Now there's going to be another refill station up here, so you want to grab some ammo while you're going by. What I like to do is get the elevator going down first, then run back and fill up with ammo.
Here comes the drop.
It just allows you not to have to sit on the elevator while you're waiting for it to go down. So I'll get my stacks back up, my rush stacks. I'm going to phase grasp,
Feeling good.
and you can see here it gets into the next phase real quick. This is where you might run into some trouble, so make sure you bring these guys and phase grasp as soon as you can so you can clean them all out at once. If not, just roll with it like that. But this guy you want to hit and get down pretty quick, because those shock balls that he shoots will definitely kill you. Now these guys spawn in the exact same spots, but it does happen in different orders. So each time you do this it'll be different, but you'll learn where they all spawn from. And that's ties that binding action right there.
Grabbed an idiot. Who wants the kill?
We're almost done. This is the last single one that you need to do. Then you're going to clear out another group of enemies. And this time it's going to spawn right there with those shockhounds and whatever they are. Sometimes you have to wait for the stupid Valkyrie to do that in his little bubble. Phase grass kill. Mop up the little straggler. And we're going to switch to the hyper focus. And then all three of these go down pretty quick because they're all grouped together. Just like that.
Those are advanced mechs, but we're after
You're
something
through
bigger. Keep going.
the Valkyrie section. I always keep a lookout for stagecoach, like the X21 or X25 version. Those are fun to use.
Don't move.
Alright, this next section, you just gotta be careful of those two, or the shocking generators, and like that one there,
Oh, you shouldn't
and any
have.
of the barrels. So you really try to get rid of the barrels because they can kill you because of that anima from the comm.
Massively.
On the heavies there, I always go and shoot for the little backpack thing that sticks up over their head. That's the crit spot. So if you can hit that, it'll take them out pretty quick. The repulsor guys, their shields apparently are tougher than the heavies, so those shields can repulse a lot. It's like the breakers, the COV, the breakers, their shields are ridiculous. It's like a little wooden shield, and it can repel like the full force of the masher clairvoyance. Like, get out of here, come on. But this section here you can also skip to and just go through. But if you're looking for gear, you can kill all these guys and see what they drop. Yeah, I already have a better one than that, so. In this section down here, you can skip to. And you just run right through and go up the ramp. And just skip it completely, but I'm just taking care of these guys just for the sake of killing them. Look at that. See, look at this stupid repulsor shield. Ooh. Hate those guys. But the worst ones, in all honesty, are the zealots. The COV zealots. They like to hide, and they have a really unique movement pattern, so it makes them hard to hit sometimes. Most of the crit spots on these Maliwan guys are going to be on their backpacks. The ones that have them sticking over their head, you can shoot that. The badass one there, their only crit spot is their head. Like that guy there.
Oh, grave digger. You're welcome.
Similar to the heavies. So here I'm going to sit back in this back section and clean up everything here first before I proceed forward. So if you go forward, all this stuff here, they're going to follow you back there, and then the front section or the back section up there is going to follow you, come meet you, and you're just going to be hit by a bullet barrage, and you will most likely die. So just hang back here, clean up everything that comes at you, and you'll do just fine. The death spheres can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Just because it's like the rack in the cistern of slaughter. And you have like 8 engorging rack flying above you and you're trying to kill them all. Now, this little straggler was being a little pain in the butt. Even though I go down and fight for life here, it's easily, you come out of it pretty easy with the ties that bind and the phase grasping. So if you can, like in that situation, phase grasp as quick as possible. So even if you get put in fight for your life, that phase grasp enemy is still there. So you can kill them and any additional ones that come in the area. In this section, I try to grab the heavies first because they take longer to kill, and any connected enemies that are around them will die while you're killing the heavies. So here in True Takedown, you're going to get 2 coming out of each hole. And even if they are the frostbite ones that I'm using cryo, you just gotta hit those crit spots in the back on their backpacks and they'll go down. And pains. But now you're on to the area where Wotan is. Make sure you replenish your ammo there. And I'm trying to get my rush stacks built up as much as possible. So when we drop down in here, skip the cutscene. And don't phase grasp them yet. Make sure your stacks are high enough, get closer, and then phase grasp them. And then we'll shoot in that little gap. That'll take down the shield and any enemies that spawn around them. So now I just work my way around him, keep my stacks up, get him down. Once this shield comes up, go find the opening as quick as possible before you start shooting off his volley of those things there. And so when he goes up there, we're going to keep hitting him. And the hyper focus is great for killing any of those little death spheres that spawn as a result of it. Now this is going to be a relatively quick kill. So this portion here, we want to get into the shield first and get that outer shield down. And here what happened was I got hit with cryo and it slowed me down, but normally I'm trying to make my way over to that tower. So that guy over there spawns, so I can just kill him. And then work my way over to the tower. Get my rush stats up, jump up here, get his shield on. Now he's going to split into 2. So we want to go with the better half first, kill that. It's easier to take down, and then you won't get hit by the volleys that it shoots out. So his shield goes down pretty quick here. I do get put in fight for your life right here, but Wotan's little glass chamber breaks and takes you out of second wind, so you do have that. At this point, there's going to be no more enemies that spawn with him. You got to make sure you're going to kill him before you go and fight for your life again. But at this point, with his health low enough, I know that he's going to go down no matter what. So it doesn't matter even if I do go and fight for your life again, I'll be able to kill him. And that's it there. Make sure you kill his brain. And then you can shoot his legs if you got enough time, and it'll spawn some other gear too. But that's pretty much it. You've completed the Molly 1 takedown.